And
Okay,
Gotcha.
all right, it's 7 o'clock. We will, turn on your mics. Me included. Good evening, good evening. Okay, it is 7 o'clock, and we will call to order the meeting of the Sevastopol Town Board for this evening, Monday, February 16th, 2026. If you would all rise, please, and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, thank you. And then also, before we get going, I just wanted to if we could just take a moment or two or three to remember our neighbor down the street here, Randy Schultz, who passed away on January 28th. Randy was a U.S. Army veteran, and he was also one of our first responders for quite a few years. So if we could just express our sympathies out to his wife, Linda Schultz, and the rest of his family. Thank you. Okay, and if our clerk would establish a quorum, please?
Supervisor Bogle,
Here.
Supervisor Hain,
Here.
Vice Chairman Waite,
Here.
Supervisor Olson,
Here.
and Chairman Jim Wolfel is excused.
All right, thank you, Amy. And our meet and greet, if we want to have the audience introduce themselves. Mr. Zettel, if you'd like to start, we'll go counterclockwise.
Good evening. I'm Hugh Zettel. I'm the District 14 Supervisor for the County of Door, which encompasses the eastern half of the town of Sevastopol, and I reside at 3986 Glidden Drive.
My name is Gwen Grayboys, 5343 South Lake Road, and I'm here to try to explain some chaotic updates in Madison regarding wake surfing boats.
Stacy Danielle, 4832 County Road P.
I am Dave Janda. I am a new recruit with the League of Women Voters Observer Corps, so I'm just here basically taking notes. There's an article that runs in the Pulse on a monthly basis, and this will be a contribution to that. And also my family owns property in the town and Sylvan View area.
Okay, thank you for coming. And in the back, if you wanted to introduce yourself, please.
Sure, I'm Amanda Hardy. I'm with York County Trails.
Mhm.
Speaking shortly.
Right.
Okay, does anybody have an item that they wish to address that is not on our agenda for this evening?
I know I sent you all one update, and it's changed a little bit since then. I just want to break this down. There's 4 bills that are floating around, 2 for the Assembly and 2 for the Senate. One in the Assembly, AB 1033, was brought to a public hearing last Thursday, I think it was, and passed out of the committee and will be brought to the full assembly. It has only one clause on it, which is 300 feet from shore. It was originally, wake boats need to run 300 feet from shore, no closer than. It was originally 200 feet, and they submitted an amendment and made it 300 feet. There is no depth requirement, no aquatic invasive species management, and most tellingly, no statement regarding local control, whether the local control can remain in place. And there were lawyers who presented saying that there's a preemptive kind of clause, which means that if this bill is passed, we may lose that. And then there is no immunity for towns who feel that for their particular lakes, they need something tighter or different than the state law. There is an LRB 6365, which has not been given an Assembly bill number yet, and we are waiting to see if that'll get a number, and that one is 500 feet from shore, a minimum of 20-foot depth, and maintaining local control and immunity for those towns who either already have passed ordinances or may need to pass ordinances for their lakes. The Wisconsin Towns Association supports LRB 6365, but it's not yet an Assembly bill. I don't know when the full Assembly will take up AB 1033, but from an environmental and boating standpoint, the Clark Lake Advancement Association is against AB 1033. In the Senate, there are two bills. One will probably come to a public hearing in the Transportation and Local Government Committee this week. It is SB 1025. This is identical to AB 333. 300 feet from shore, no minimum depth, no aquatic invasive species, and no comment about local control or immunity from lawsuits. There is a second bill, SB 1024, and I remember that because I am for 1024, which is 500 feet from shore, minimum of 20-foot depth, and language that preserves local control and gives towns immunity against lawsuits. Now, the town, as it was explained in the meeting, the towns cannot have immunity if the ordinance is constitutionally invalid, but they can't be sued for, well, we just want to ride our boat here or something like that. It has to, the towns would be immune from those, but if there's a constitutional issue, and as far as I can tell with all the ordinances in the 77 towns that have been passed so far, that's not a problem. We don't have, AB 1025, the bill that doesn't protect the towns, will probably come to the public hearing this Thursday. There is no time yet that I'm aware of that AB 1024, which gives the towns the immunity and local control, if that'll come to a hearing this week or not. So we've got two sort of parallel tracks and parallel bills being introduced at different times. I would like to say, in case people don't know, that Andre Jacques was a co-sponsor of SB 1024. So he has tried several times, and I have chatted with him about it, and I'm happy to see that he's willing to take up the battle again. So I hope we get something definitive out of this, because it sure would be nice to not have to have every single municipality make a different decision. But we're still working for it. I just wanted to, if I can have another like 30 seconds, I just wanted to explain for people who are concerned about the transport of aquatic invasive species in the ballast tanks of these boats. This has been dropped out of all of the bills. As best as I can understand, because the, like SB 1024 or LRB 6365 will remove or prohibit, not remove, but prohibit boats in a wake-enhancing fashion, i.e. ballasted in so many lakes, that they figure that the individual towns, if they feel they need to protect their lakes for aquatic invasive species, it's a complex process, and the process to get the ballast tanks sterilized and prove that they're sterilized. So they removed it completely, and I think they'll leave it to the local towns, because this bill is looking for the 80 to 90%, big help for the lakes. And the AI, aquatic invasive species, is now not really an issue that's before the legislature. Any questions? No. I'll keep you guys up to date when I see what's going on, because I know this is really important to the towns.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else have a topic that is not on the agenda? Okay. All right, thank you, Gwen. All right, so if our clerk would confirm that the agenda has been properly noticed, I
The
would look.
agenda has been properly noticed.
All right, thank you, and then we would look for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second?
All right, motion by Mr. Haynes, second by Mr. Olson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right. And then approval of our minutes of our previous meeting from January 19th, 2026. They were in the packet. Hope you've all had a chance to look at them. So I would look for a motion to accept and place those on file.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from January 19th, 2026 and place on file.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, and then we have our special presentation this evening with Door County Trails. So if you two would like to introduce yourselves, and there's a microphone there and there. You can take it out of the holder if you like. That works.
Perfect. Am I able to pass out a brochure to everybody?
Oh, of course.
I don't need one.
How?
Oh, sorry, you got one.
I got one.
Yeah, you were there.
Thanks.
Where are our stickers? Our window stickers?
That's right, yeah, that's right. Is this on, or do I need to? Okay, good, okay. All right, I'm Amanda Accardi, previously Amanda Stuck, for anybody who knew that name. I just got married in December, but same person, with Destination Door County. In my role at Destination Door County, I helped to start Door County Trails. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Our mission is to develop a county-wide connected transportation trail network. So it's really thinking about connecting communities, being able to travel up and down the peninsula and across without having to get in your car, not just sort of single loops that don't connect anywhere. This is really about a transportation trail network is our focus. So we grew out of several different initiatives that were happening around the county. The Community Foundation had worked with Sophie to create an inventory of trails that we had currently in the county. Gibraltar was working on some feasibility studies. Sister Bay was working on some trail projects. So we realized it would make sense to start bringing communities together, to start talking about these projects, to make sure communities were connecting into each other, and to make sure that we were really being strategic about going after resources like grants to build these large trail networks. So that's why we formed as a 501c3 to help start pursuing some of those grants and doing some fundraising to make sure this vision could happen. So we've been working with municipalities in a variety of ways, from identifying grants, writing grants, supplying model language if you're looking at how you can incorporate trail development in the future in your ordinances, supplying volunteers for trail projects, really any gap that a municipality might have in their trail project or in pursuing trails. We're hoping to fill those gaps for communities. That's really been our role so far. But we've realized to be more strategic, to be more competitive for grants, it would make sense to create a larger vision and bring all the communities together to help build this. So that's why we brought Sophie back for stage 2 of that she had started in the beginning, to really start identifying some of those corridors that we want to connect. So I'm going to turn it over to her to talk about what she is working on for us currently.
All right, so I am Sophie Parr, and I am an urban planner. I have been doing planning in Door County for about almost a decade now. I've worked in a lot of the northern communities, and I'm excited to be working on this kind of county-wide initiative that's brought me down south here as well. So what we are working on is kind of a high-level strategy for a connected system. So I like to emphasize what it isn't. It isn't a direct outline of where a trail needs to go. It's not that. That happens at the municipal level. What we are trying to do is identify where there are connections that are needed. So I always give this example. When we were in Brussels, they were like, hey, we would love to be able to get to the Anopi. So that is kind of a connection corridor, right? Like a direction, an area where we would love to see a trail developed that could support those communities down there. So that is what we're looking for in this plan, is to identify those connections. So we have a survey out. It has about 1,100 responses now, where we've upped it. And we're just asking where people want to be able to get to. into village centers, to waterfronts, to schools, really anywhere they want to be able to go, we want to know. My job is to listen to people, to get ideas and analyze the survey, and then translate what people are telling us into a strategy. That's my job. So the biggest thing that we are asking the communities for is when we have a draft plan put together, we would love to share it with you, and we would love for your board feedback to let us know, like, hey, we like the direction of this, hey, we want to make some edits, hey, you know, we're working on this, we'd love to see a connection here. We want to know what you think. And then once we have a final plan, we are going to be asking every single community for a resolution of support. So that we're not asking you to adopt the plan as yours. You can do that because it is kind of being part of a bigger countywide initiative. But what we're asking for is a resolution of support, eventually having 19 resolutions of support from every single community, which will make any future grant application for any community much stronger. So say you want to develop a trail in the future that aligns with the strategy or the vision that's outlined in this plan in any capacity, this could be a tool for you to go after funding. It can also be a tool to better understand how to coordinate with the other communities. So obviously a countywide system is passing through many different municipalities. This plan will help kind of identify the different people that are involved, best practices, things like that, so that hopefully the goal is to have a very coordinated, cohesive system. And so we want all the communities kind of working together. So that is what this plan will help hopefully accomplish. So the timeline for what we're working on, we are almost at the end of our, I call it the municipal tour. We were at Forestville and Town and Village tonight, and now we're here. But we're almost at the end. I think we have 4 more communities to do this presentation to let you know what we are doing. Once we are done with that, we will close our survey as well, gather kind of all the feedback. We have had 2 public open houses. We had one in Sturgeon Bay that you attended, and then we had just had one in Fish Creek. This past weekend, we had about 45 people there. So we are getting people, and we had a pretty good turnout at the Sturgeon Bay one as well. So we have been getting a lot of great feedback. So we're going to translate that all into a strategy. And then mid to late March, we hope to send that out to you all for you to review and give us your feedback. And then in May, we'll make revisions. And then in May, we're hoping to have a final, and so that you can start reviewing and potentially passing a resolution of support. The other thing that we will ask you to provide is 2 municipal liaisons. So those are people in your government structure, whether they're on your board, whether they're on a committee, whether they're on the staff, that can be a liaison with Door County Trails. So 2 people that have the ability to go back to the town board, say, hey, this is what we're working on. And just those people that can be at quarterly, we're expecting quarterly meetings to kind of hear what's going on in the county and just stay up to date on what's happening with trails, and be those people that can go to Door County Trails and say, hey, this is what Sevastopol's working on. Can we get some resources? Can we get some assistance? How do we keep moving this forward? So that's what we're working on, and we're here tonight to just present that and ask if you have any questions of what we're working on. You are welcome to ask us some questions.
Okay. Mark, did you have any questions?
I already had mine answered
Yeah.
the first time I was there.
And this has been, you started this, I want to say like last fall, or, I remember going to a meeting up in Gibraltar, right?
Yeah, we've been working on this for a while. I mean, I mentioned there were several different projects that were kind of out there separately working. Town of Egg Harbor, that's where Susan Stauber had really started some of those public outreach meetings. So this is sort of a growth of that, where it went from sort of being Egg Harbor, silo, different projects to one coordinated project. We're officially a 501c3 for a year in December. So we've been a 501c3 just for a little over a year now.
Okay. Are you looking for anything from the town at this point?
Not
Specifically?
at this point right now.
Okay.
So what we will be asking is in late March for you to review our plan and
Okay.
give us any feedback. And we want to make sure that it aligns with, what you guys might be working on here. So we're taking all the feedback that we've kind of gained from our survey and from, our connections and people reaching out to us in the public open houses, and we're going to translate all that into a strategy that we would then share with you. And again, it's very high level, so we're not kind of diving into any details. So we don't anticipate that anyone is going to be like super, oh, no. But we want you to look at it. We want you to make sure that it is something that works for your community.
Do you anticipate costs, like if you need to acquire easements across private property or anything like that for trail connections? Will you have a budget in mind when you present your plan, or? don't you know at this point?
Nope, this is just a strategic vision. The actual planning will happen at the municipal level. So Door County Trails is not an entity that is going to be actually doing any of the, on-the-ground development. This could be a 20, 30-year project. This could take many, many years, because you're right, there are a lot of, the limitations are land and money. And so what this is really doing is just kind of like putting in place that higher level vision so that, say you do find an opportunity to build some trail and it aligns with the vision, you can use this as a tool to go and get funding. And we are going to include some best practices, and we have had the topic of private easements and things come up, and so we're going to include some of that in it as well, as kind of like how we would love to be able to go about developing trail, and private easements could come into play there, and just kind of outlining some of those kinds of things that can help trail development. But we won't have any specific costs.
Okay. And
I just want to add on to that. So this will really be a tool then to start with that quarterly meeting we're going to have with communities to start saying, okay, now that we have this, if, for instance, Sevastopol says, okay, we see the corridor, we see the results from our residents saying they're really interested in a trail here. Now we'll work with Door County Trails to start talking about what does that funding look like to start doing feasibility studies. And that's where we would identify those grants for you and help you write those to go after those dollars. Again, it's the municipalities doing it, but we're just helping to assist with that. We already have been applying for countywide feasibility study grants. Right now we have one we're submitting next week. So we're already applying for some of this, and if we get these grants, we would essentially be coming to you saying, look, we already got the money for you, just all we're asking for is your participation in helping to do this.
And I see that you indicate this would be a multi-use bicycle and pedestrian, so have you addressed, is it going to be e-bikes, or just, has that come up? I bet you do, yes.
And that's up to the municipality. So that's, again, where we aren't putting in any trails, we're just helping to facilitate, find those resources for you and help make it happen for you. Ultimately, the municipalities, the surface, the use, all of those will be up to the municipality, and it will also be up to feasibility studies and all those other things that have input into what the trail actually looks like through your community.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? No? All right.
I'd say one more thing, just to, one other ask we'd have is just if you can share the survey. So if you have like a social for your community or a newsletter that you put out, anything to help share, just because we will be able to come back then and tell you what your residents specifically are saying, because the survey does allow us to break it down by community.
And I think we'll keep it open, we'll keep it open until our last meeting, which is Sturgeon Bay, March 2nd or 3rd. So it'll be open for a little bit longer.
So maybe we could put a link on the website or something, or
I can definitely
want,
do that.
if you have time to do that? You said till March, when?
When Sturgeon Bay? City of Sturgeon Bay is March 3rd.
Mid-March?
Yeah, early March, I think, is when we'll have the survey open till.
Yeah, that's not that far away anymore. All right, well, thank you. All right, thank you very
Thank you.
much. Okay, so we can move along to pending business, discussion and action on these items. We have the E-Plan exam coming back. That is the commercial plan review services. Our building inspectors and inspection specialists brought it up at our last meeting. So it's back for your review and potential approval. You see the memo from our attorney, a legal opinion. She did suggest adding to the indemnification section. It's on page 6, section 9. If you look at Attorney Sullivan's memo, it's the third to the last paragraph about waiving the provisions of WISTAT's liability, et cetera, et cetera. You do see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, did we have any other questions on this proposal? Are we prepared to enter into a contract for, to sign up with E-Plan? Our professional services agreement that was included in the packet? Yes, no?
Well, I think.
Subject to adding that a paragraph, so
Right.
either we could incorporate that ask them to incorporate it into their, I'm guessing this is a pro forma, that it's just a boilerplate. If they can't incorporate it in, we could ask that it be added as an addendum.
That's the only thing I think that, I mean, I watched the meeting in
Otherwise,
January, that was the concern.
She didn't seem to have any other concerns
Yeah.
except with that.
No, she said it
And,
looked good other than
Yeah,
that.
Trent had brought that indemnification to our
Yeah.
attention last month, so.
Yeah, but I'm glad that she said, it's minimal risk, but
Mhm.
provided some language, so
Yep.
I'm good with,
Okay,
I'm good with that. We'll do a motion
Yeah.
to,
so if you
Yeah.
want to make that motion, Trent, that's,
Sure. I'll make a motion that we enter into the contract with E-Plan Exam and ask them to add the added language from our attorney.
sounds good.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion on this contract? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none, motion carried. It is a 12-page agreement, so. Okay, moving along to the Shower Road update on cost share. So you have the cost estimate for Shower Road project that was as of January 20th, 2026. I believe it came from the county administrator. I don't know if it's included in the packet or not. With some adjustments as to cost. The cost breakdown, I'll just summarize the total cost. This is, of course, Shower Road through Whitefish Dune State Park into Cave Point County Park, reconfiguration, relocation of the road. So the total cost of the project now is estimated at $354,712. We have a community investment fund grant secured of $150,000. The county would be taking care of the entrance portion, $16,920. They would also address a portion of the road, since it is going through a county park, and that share would be $71,467. Jacksonport for the turnaround at the dead end of Shower Road, so that would be on the northern end, just before you enter the park. They've come around and have indicated their willingness to contribute $53,000 for that, confirmed in an email. And Sevastopol, initially, we committed to $50,000. So there's a remaining balance or difference of $13,325. So they had the discussion, I believe, at the county level about Sevastopol making up the difference. So that would be up to us.
I think we'd like to see the project move forward, therefore we should contribute the extra money.
Do we want to set a firm amount of $13,325, or do we want a little leeway in there, just in case?
Well, on the
Thoughts?
bottom,
And not to
sorry.
exceed, yeah.
Yeah, on the bottom, we had that, if you see that note, we
Yeah.
had not to exceed 20,000
Well,
before that, so if we drop that down 14 or 15,000, drop that down to that.
not to exceed an additional, so our total commitment would be like 65,000?
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's 70,000. What is your
Correct.
pleasure?
I'd say, yeah, I'd be in favor of that.
15? 15? And if we do run over, then I think it's, maybe the other parties decide to chip in a little extra.
Yeah,
I mean, we're doing the majority here, so, well, almost, no, not quite.
No.
I guess the county is contributing quite a bit,
no, they are,
so.
since the new.
And Jacksonport
well,
is
since
up
the
their
new-
game
they
too,
found out
so.
that
Okay,
that's the county owes
want
that.
some action?
I'm getting a a little note here from a birdie from afar,
Okay.
thinking maybe we should do the 20, leave it at 20,000 for the just in case. So, that just came into my ear, if anybody wants to.
I think that's why the note was probably stated like it was. I don't have a problem with that myself.
We are, I mean, we kind of already discussed that, correct? That was
Yes.
The 20,000.
Yes.
Linda doesn't, she's biting her lip.
No, I would like to see the project accomplished. I
Yeah.
mean, we've been working on this for almost 2 years now, I think, so.
Looks like Mr. Zotto has
Yes.
something to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pardon?
Just
Oh,
a
yes,
comment.
of
We have,
course.
I'll jump ahead to what I was going to talk about, but as a member of the Finance Committee, we will be looking at a resolution tomorrow, and as I recall, the language, I think it states $70,000 for the town of Sevastopol, which includes that 20,000 contingency. It also notes, too, the additional funding required by the county, which is why it's going to the Finance Committee, because we have to provide additional funds because of that portion of the parking lot, et cetera, which wasn't included as part of county funding, but should have been, and it rectifies that as well. So just as a note that the resolution identifies 70,000, obviously you can change that and we can, the county can modify its resolution, but that was just how it's noted in its draft, just for your information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
And also,
Supervisor.
when we first started this, I don't think, we didn't talk about entrance. I'm looking at the initial project here from, I don't know where it is, when it's from, but it didn't talk about entrance reconfiguration, and now we've added that into the
Well,
mix
that
as
was,
well.
no, they had,
Yes, that was included.
that was included in the original stuff. I don't know if they had a number on it, because they were talking about either straightening it or doing that
They had
weird
they had
stop sign.
yes, to
That
your
was-
point, Supervisor Hayne, they did talk about it.
Okay.
But they've done some more engineering relative to how they're gonna square that off
Yeah.
properly
Okay.
at Clark Lake Road.
All right. Okay, so if you want to, I'm okay if you want to say that the maximum then on the town share would be not to exceed a total of $70,000.
Bless you.
I will make that motion
Okay.
to accept the, or how would you want, how do you want me to say it, Linda?
The most recent
Most recent
cost
cost
estimate
estimate.
and cost share.
Cost share of the Shell Road project not to exceed $70,000 from the town of Sevastopol.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. Any other discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor
Aye.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, motion's carried. So, Mr. Zettel, you can report that to Finance Committee then tomorrow.
Delighted to do so.
Thank you. All right. And moving on to new business, the coastal byway. So the coastal byway, just to summarize, I think I've mentioned this before, we did receive a grant to help us reprint 10,000 copies of our ever-popular coloring book. This would be our 4th edition. People love it. Plus crayons to go with it. And then while we were at it, we thought we'll replenish our supply of brochures. So another 30,000 brochures, which should last us, I believe, 2 or 3 years. There were just a few updates to the brochures, clarifying some of the town websites. So anyway, so we have a grant, and the town of Sevastopol sponsored that grant. So the funds are sitting in our escrow or account or whatever, in a designated fund. We need to expend our funds first of $4,000 before we can start dispersing grant funds. We have already ordered the crayons, and we have already placed our order to Innovative Printing. We're using a local printer. So I do expect those invoices to come in shortly. Since we do not have a meeting in March, I'm looking for authorization and approval to disperse those grant funds as invoices are received. I can tell you the amounts will be to Innovative Printing for the coloring books, $9,332. For the crayons, $1,195. To reprint the brochures, $4,016. So that is a total of $14,543 plus some odd cents. Again, the Coastal Byway is going to contribute $4,000 of that, and the remainder will come from our grant funds, and actually, we came in under budget. So I would just look for a motion to approve disbursement of our funds to cover those invoices when they are received.
I'll make that motion. Give you the authority to disperse those funds as needed.
Okay, thank you.
Second?
All right. Any questions, discussion?
I just like that it's a good German Door County Kraut company that's on the Webster.
Oh, that's Ann's company, yeah.
And that's Ann Miller, she's the chairman of our Coastal Byway Council, so. Okay, so if there's no other further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Opposed, none? That motion is carried, and I will watch for the invoices and submit them to Amy after we have dispersed our share first. So, thank you. Authorization for payment of the March 2026 vouchers, bills, and claims, because we likely will not have a March board meeting unless something crucial comes up. So I would look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize payments of the March 2026 vouchers, bills, and claims in lieu of board meeting in March.
All right, thank you.
Second?
Second? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Motion carried. And then we just thought, it's never too early to mention the 2026 newsletter.
Never too early.
So, last go-around, we did 12 pages. I think we could maybe bring it back down to 8 pages, we'll see. So, anybody out there who thinks they would like to submit an article for our newsletter, or pictures, right? So, start thinking about what article you're going to write. Okay,
Please.
please. Maybe we'll come up with some topics. I'm guessing wakeboarding could maybe be.
Wake surfing.
Wake surfing?
Wake
surfing.
surfing, not wakeboarding. Gwen doesn't care two beans about wakeboarding.
You have a deadline for submission?
I think we used like June 1st last time, and I know there was a delay in getting it out into the printer, and then there was a delay at the post office and that, so let's tentatively say June 1st. Are you okay with that, Amy?
Absolutely.
Okay,
That sounds
Did
good.
it by July 15th, will be good.
yeah, all right, so, well, we had a little, yeah, it'll be fine. So.
It'll be fine.
Okay. Anybody who wants to hear about a topic, let us know, and we'll wrangle somebody to write one. Okay, all right, thank you. Quarry Bluff plat. If you haven't had a chance to look at the plat, it's right there on the front table. It's the Quarry Bluff Estates, which is just above Bay Shore and above George Penny Park on the Bayside. It's pretty standard. There's approval for the county. The state has already signed off on it. Because we are under county zoning, they pretty much rule as to plats and subdivisions and things like that. So I would look for a motion, we do have to sign off on it. I would look for a motion to approve the plat, subject to compliance with all state, county, bless you,
Bless you.
local ordinances, including the town of Sevastopol ordinance that we have for private and public road standards. It also includes standards for driveways, clearance with vegetation and trees, road width, driveway permits. It's all covered in the ordinance. Just looking at the plat, I would say that the roads definitely meet the 12-foot minimum paved surface. Definitely meets the cul-de-sac turnaround. I think our standard is 60 feet, and I see that one is 100 feet. So I don't see any problems with it, as long as, again, compliance with all the ordinances.
Yeah, sounds good to me, if they're
Do you
meeting
want
all
me
the
to
things
make the motion?
legally. I'll make, if you want to do it, or
Well, Mark, go ahead.
stumble through it.
Yeah,
Was trying to
I
write
was
down
gonna
as
say
she's,
so moved, but
yeah,
Okay.
Whoops.
as she's startling me with her sneeze. I'm trying to write, and I got a little squiggly here. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve, subject to compliance with all the ordinance, state, local, private, public roadways, and all the Sevastopol ordinances and such. Is that?
Sounds good?
second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. And then also, you did see the note here from the Door County zoning ordinance. The subdivider or declarant shall first obtain approval from such town in which the land division is happening or condominium is happening. So that is why we have it ahead of time here. Okay? All right, everybody's good? All right, all those in favor, did I ask for a vote already?
No,
I don't think
ma'am.
so. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? None? Okay, that motion is carried. We will sign off on it. And then the adjustment of our committed funds. So you see the memo there. Amy first connected with Elizabeth at CLA, our auditors, and then I also spoke with Elizabeth McMasters at CLA, our auditor. And I'll just read the language regarding I'll kind of summarize. So regarding our committed funds and the timing of the AT&T payments that we had to make, and the difference between that and receiving our loan funds from the local government investment pool. They were temporarily sitting in our unassigned funds to avoid a negative position, but we will replenish those funds with our loan proceeds as soon as we head into 2026, which we are already here. It's probably going to involve, Amy, what do you call it? Adjustment, right, on the audit?
A journal?
A journal adjustment or something. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So it was showing that the town was fiscally responsible by not borrowing the money before we actually needed it and securing the best interest rate at that time. So it's strictly for mechanics, I would say, and a matter of timing. So I would look for a motion to approve that, and our clerk will work with CLA to accomplish the mechanics. I'll make that motion.
Second.
As
Okay.
stated above, yes. All right,
You
any
wanna-
questions? Any
Want to
questions on
restate
that?
the motion, Linda? I'm just
No.
kidding.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. And then, of course, the full audit will be available at our annual meeting, which is April
21st,
21st, right?
yeah.
All of our financial statements and everything for 2025. Okay, so on to shipping containers and camping regulations. So you see this nice memo from Door County Land Use Services. They are reviewing the comprehensive zoning ordinance that's been underway for a while, seeking input from the municipalities. And they are considering some amendments when it comes to camping regulations and shipping containers as accessory structures. So regarding camping regulations, has your town experienced interest or concerns related to camping? I can think of a call or two that I've received about camping and questions, how many days can you camp on private property? I believe it's 30 days right now. And then, of course, shipping containers used as storage buildings, accessory buildings, tiny houses, whatever. So the survey is out there. They asked for a completed survey, one survey from each municipality. So that is why it's on the agenda, because we need some board action instead of me just filling it out, we need consensus here. So you see the summary of the camping regulations. Not more than one camping unit permitted on a lot, must allow for sanitary conditions and all that. Outdoor storage regulations. Who is a camping party? What is a camping unit? The survey asks the questions. Does your town currently receive inquiries or requests related to camping on private property, which is not in an established campground?
Is everybody good with yes?
I would say occasionally,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay?
yeah.
Are you aware of any concerns or complaints related to camping on private property, which is not in an established campground in your town?
That's probably an Amy
I would
question.
say yes.
I'd say yes.
I'd say occasionally.
Yeah, I would say
Yes,
yes,
that's-
none recently, but in the past, especially on vacant properties. Are we all okay with that?
Yes,
Yep.
Is there anything you want to add to it?
we're writing that down.
There are a few, in my short-term rental questionnaires, there are a few camping things that have come up, and there are a few people or entities that are camping or that are advertising for camping on their acreage. So I have contacted the zoning department in regards to that. You know, they say, hey, you can camp here for 2 nights for X amount of dollars, and there's these amenities available. So, you know, we have run into that issue.
So would we want to, let's see. I think if we get to, if changes were considered, we could put another use of vacant property as, regarding, as, we'll refine it when we get there.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe the current camping regulations in the Door County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance are too restrictive,
No,
about right, not restricted enough, or not familiar with? I'm thinking they're about
about
right.
right.
About right.
About
Yep.
right,
We
yeah,
okay?
Yep.
All right. Would your town support exploring changes to the current camping regulations? I put possibly.
Yeah,
Maybe,
Would
yeah.
like more information?
right.
Okay with
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yep.
Okay. If changes were considered, which of the following would your town be interested in discussing? Check all that apply. And I think that's where we would want to check. All right, do you want to check any of those boxes? Increasing the number of days, like I said, it's 30 right now.
No,
No. Allowing more than one camping unit?
No.
No. Allowing more than one camping party
no.
per lot? Oh, that was a question that I had, that I think I posed, was
What's the
a
difference?
camping party. So say you have 5 families, they're all related, but they have like 5 tents. So one, is a camping unit a tent?
I believe it is.
Camping unit, it says here, where is it? It's on here.
It is, or is it?
On the description?
Yeah, some was 7, anybody over the age of 7 years old, I saw it.
Well,
Earlier on.
okay, number 3 on the summary, not more than one camping unit shall be permitted on a lot. That's where I had a question, 1 tent, question mark? 1 RV, question mark?
Oh, definitions per chapter 13, on the bottom of that page. Camping
a
party.
single
Any
temporary
individual or
shelter.
family or group consisting of not more than 6 persons who are 7 years of age or
Okay.
older, provided that such individual, family, or group is engaging in camping.
Okay,
That's a camping party.
okay,
Camping unit.
camping unit,
Any single temporary shelter, 400 square feet or less in area, except sleeping bags, bedrolls, and hammocks, used for camping by a camping party. Camping units include recreational vehicles, camping trailers, tents, motorhomes, park models, camping cabins, and yurts.
so 1 per lot.
Yes. Yeah, so,
Right.
and I know, we see that every now and then where people have 3 campers in their yard,
Uh-huh.
and people will be there for the weekend. And I, you know, that's against the policy, per the policy, but I think the policy is set up in case it becomes excessive, or in case people are staying there too long, or using it as a home or anything like that, so, I don't know, I'm good with them staying the way they are.
Okay, so Amy mentioned STR. Do we want to check other and say,
No advertising as an SDR on private property.
We just seem to have people who are trying to circumvent the
Mm-hmm.
system,
Yeah.
I
Right.
would say. And I'm not saying that it's a lot of people. I'm saying that it's probably certain people that have private property that have a great deal of property. Maybe Supervisor Zettel would like to expound on that.
or?
There's
you
two
can't-
pieces there when you think about that. In essence, a camping unit, you could view that like almost like a pop-up accessory dwelling. And so the county has specific ordinances that prohibit short-term rental use in an accessory dwelling, so that's one thing. I think the other challenge that we have is in some of these where they've had, which is why I think the town doesn't allow RVs as part of its ordinance, is basically you're adding additional bedrooms beyond typically what your pouch capacity is. And so that's where it puts, a burden on a pouch system, which is why we didn't allow for the RVs, because they don't drain into your septic, so they use the folks' house where they park. And I think that's where the, having it add as accessory dwelling, it's almost like they're adding, if you will, extra bedrooms, which they're not really entitled to.
Well, under the sanitary waste disposal, either connection to a pouch or self-contained holding tank, which would be in an RV, right?
And that, but
Yeah,
that
I
doesn't
would
handle
have-
the tent, that doesn't handle the tent aspect, that's
Yeah.
the challenge.
Could we say back to changes number 5, if we check other, shall not be income producing or something like that? That would prevent the STRs.
Well, did you say the county already eliminates that?
Yeah, I would ask them to reconcile the camping units relative to the not being
county.
able to use accessory dwelling units as a short-term
Yeah,
rental,
there you
which
go.
is an existing county ordinance.
Okay.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that's a
To
better way to do
not
it.
be
Thank you, John.
used as STR.
Yeah.
Does it say anything about if I have a vacant parcel and I'm not an STR, but I'm gonna camp there for $50? I mean, it doesn't really preclude anyone from charging a fee. Or am
I think
I?
a question is how you define vacant lot. I think one of the other challenges from a public health perspective, if you're renting this out, a lot of these vacant lots don't have a E911 address. So for things like emergency services, fire, et cetera, you say, yeah, you're down, Road X, but Road X doesn't have any other kind of identifiable location for, EMS, first responders, et cetera, to go to. So I think that's one of the things that land use has gotten feedback from some of the towns, is they're literally in a vacant,
Right.
pasture land. And so that makes it, very problematic relative
Right.
to services. And if you're charging somebody, for that, that might provide some complications. I also thought Door County Tourism Zone weighed in on basically just having camping show up, without any,
Yeah, they don't,
utilities, et cetera.
right, they're not assessed room tax if they provide their own
Power.
tent or RV or whatever. But if they go to a campground that has an A-frame or something, then that is subject to room tax. Okay, so what are we putting under number 5 that we want to be considered? Okay, so Mr. Zettel just said reconcile camping units to not be used as STR.
Right.
do we want to say something about vacant?
He said accessory dwelling.
And
Accessory
treating it
dwelling.
as do they treat them as accessory dwellings
Yeah.
from that perspective?
What, is there anything else we want to add under there?
Do we look at like allowing the outdoor storage?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, you wanna,
Either one of those, two outdoor storage.
Okay.
Do you want to look at those? We would talk about those too? Would you want to change either one of those?
Well, if changes were considered, which of the following would your town be interested in discussing? I'm guessing that there'll be another public hearing on this, so we
Yes.
could bring up points at that time.
oh, that's happening now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
I mean, no, I mean, people are
Oh.
having a camper parked at their house now, is it?
Yeah, I guess you gotta look at, so I know a couple properties in our town that, you know, the people live in the city and their brother has property out here and they have two campers on it that just sit there for the off-season. So
Well, it
I don't know if
says-
that's part of that, if that's part of the ordinance already.
It says
but
on a lot with a principal building,
Correct, and, you know, and there's also a couple of them
Residence.
that have open lots that have.
right,
Okay.
without a principal building.
And to expound in another scenario, in addition to what Supervisor Hayne is providing, the parking also includes the fact where you have someone with a house and a camper, and it's got its stabilizers down and leveled as opposed to it's
Right.
parked.
Right.
You know, so I think the other challenge is making sure that if it is by a dwelling, that it's parked, it's not used as, you know, your accessory mother-in-law suite, you know, in the summertime. So I think that's the other one that's been brought up with it being on people's property is next to a dwelling. Is it parked before they go to Florida, or do they really have it elevated and
Right.
in use
Right.
to a house that they're already living in? I think that's the one that's been,
Right,
that's the
so-
one that's been problematic.
From
by-
what
mentioned
my
From other towns.
assessment was, if it's parked and set up, so if it is, it has electricity to it, is it, capable of taking the gray water? You know, things like that, if that's what it is, then it's considered set up. If it's just in storage, you know, all of the, portions that can come out
Yeah,
are
silos, right.
obviously, in,
Right.
and it's just in storage, so there's no electricity set to it, there's no gray water bucket or.
Stabilizers up, the
Yeah.
stairs are
Yeah.
not in front of the doorway.
Absolutely,
right? They're
so
all, you know,
that would be
obviously
the
not being
put
difference.
away.
No, yeah,
transferred.
the one issue I'd have with that would be, I know people that keep theirs plugged in just to keep their battery tenders on them all winter long. You know, keep the battery, keep things, you know, running that way, but they're not camping it. I mean, it's getting to the point almost where we're gonna have to be detectives and send someone out and what are you doing with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we go through every single thing, you know, plugged in, water run, every,
So if we check the last three boxes under number 5, allowing the items that we would be interested in discussing, allowing outdoor storage on a lot with a principal building, allowing outdoor storage on a vacant lot, and other reconciling camping units to not be used as accessory dwellings,
I agree with those.
i.e.
Yeah, that
STR.
sounds great.
Okay? Because they're looking, I think they're just looking for input at this time.
Right.
And we can raise these questions when it comes around to the public hearing. Would your town be interested in participating in a work group or discussion? I put yes, somebody will go. Any additional comments or suggestions?
It just
Okay.
comes down to, in my opinion, it's always enforcement with everything that we're, you know, it's, one more thing that someone's gonna have to enforce.
Do you want to put that under number 7, enforcement?
Enforcement.
Just enforce, you know, good or bad, good, bad, or indifferent, that someone's gonna have to enforce
Yeah,
something or not
That's a good
enforce it.
point.
Okay.
You know, so you can, who's gonna do it and just, you know, keep adding on to somebody's lap.
Yep,
Okay. And then Amy, are you okay with just submitting this then?
Absolutely.
And you can use your name as the contact, and then if we do get
Sure.
notice of a public hearing or whatever. So I don't think I need a formal motion, it's just a consensus of the board that we can, that our clerk will remit this. Yes.
I apologize, I know I'm
Well, that's okay.
not necessarily part of this agenda, but because I know it's going to be delivered to my committee at RPC, I think what I didn't hear is your feedback relative to shipping containers, which was the other part of that.
That's
So-
next.
That's different.
Next? Oh, is
Yeah.
that, or so you're
That's
voting
different.
on
We're
those
talking
separately?
about the
Okay.
next.
Yeah.
Yep, that's camping
Okay.
only now.
So we have a consensus on the camping
Thank you.
response,
Sorry.
okay? All right, now we get to go to the shipping containers. So, I do like the summary from land use, you know, the other counties that do not specifically regulate shipping containers, and then the following counties that do allow and regulate, so that was helpful. And then some of the provisions that they do allow in their ordinances too. Some are allowed in certain zoning districts, some must comply with setbacks, the use, the number of units, like one has up to 4 units per lot. Yowza. Aesthetics, color, screening and stacking, oh my goodness.
God help us.
So you see the background, the town feedback form? Does your town support amending the ordinance to allow shipping containers as accessory structures in select zoning districts with restrictions? You also all have a comment sheet from our chairman as well, correct? You've all seen that? I don't want any shipping containers. The only purpose they should be serving is to ship.
Shipping containers.
I don't want to see them as a storage unit, an accessory dwelling,
It's
a
not-
tiny house.
There's nothing about accessory dwellings or tiny houses
I
in
know,
this.
I don't ever want
Yeah.
to see them as
That
that,
is-
so,
Well, it's a very popular thing. People are using them to build houses in Door County.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Have you been down to, like, the Den,
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
corn maze?
In
You
Nassau
can do a lot of really cool things with
Yeah.
them. The concern is doing nothing with them.
Right.
And that's, I think, gonna be the overuse, and that's why I'm of the no opinion as well.
and I've seen them too, off of the, well, county roads. I can think of one off of County C, past the airport. That's the only thing on the lot, is a shipping container.
Yeah.
I personally have no problem with shipping containers, to be completely honest. Has the town had a problem with them? Have we had calls, people wanting to put them up? We haven't,
We
you
don't
know.
want to have a problem with
I
that.
don't, yeah,
Oh. I-
I don't want to have a problem with
I
that.
personally don't have a problem with them. I'd rather see one of those that's with the regulations, restrictions of painting and keep them clean and yada, yada, rather than having 1,400 lawnmowers and snowmobiles and things on people's yards. They do make very airtight, nice, keep clean, structures for storage. So and none of the counties around us don't allow them. They all allow them without regulations. I don't have any problem with them.
I think we're going to have a difference of opinion here.
Yeah,
Yep, that's my 2 cents.
most definitely.
So, and I would like to make a note, a note too, that, 4 supervisors or 3 supervisors supported no shipping containers. Do you have a comment? I can see you're itching to say something.
This has come up, I think, twice. There are several municipalities that are looking for inclusion. I think part of it is, again, relative to the zoning district. So there are businesses in commercial zoning district that are using it to store certain types of equipment, like, for example, going garbage, putting certain types of recyclables, in shipping containers that they can hold in a secure manner. So I think you need to make sure you look at it relative to the use. So like commercial use, I can see there's a good purpose for that. And again, a lot of it is geared towards looking at it as accessory structures and aligning with how we have accessory buildings today, and can allow for a number of them depending on what your zoning is. And also keep in mind for things, Supervisor Haney talked about, tiny houses. Remember, if someone uses a shipping container and it's as their house, that's considered a primary structure. And the county will currently allow it, because that's the primary structure. 3 or 4 years ago, there was a house that was a part of the house and garden walk that was, consisting of, I think, 2 or 3 shipping containers. And that was their primary dwelling, and that is allowable. So be careful about when you say shipping containers, say they're all bad. Then in some cases, we allow them when they're a primary dwelling, a primary structure already. And so I think it's the question of, how many, do you have anything like an SF20, SF10, residential areas, that kind of stuff, where that might not fit relative to neighborhood character and that sort of thing. So I think that's where I would just be a little bit, cautious relative to saying they're all bad, because in some cases, we actually allow them by zoning ordinance relative to them, say in the primary structure example.
Well, how does, this was a comment from our chairman too, about how does a shipping container pass a building inspection?
Same way a utility shed, a metal utility shed does, same thing. It's
Yeah.
structurally sound, and it's
Yes.
built as a structure.
You can put them on a slab and have it anchored, and just like you do a manufactured home on Thunder Hill.
So I do believe the town of Sevastopol has an ordinance against tiny homes. I'm pretty sure that we have, it's under certain square footage for tiny homes.
That's county,
County ordinance.
county is
That's a
minimum
county-
of 750
I thought
square
the
feet, or
Sevastopol-
725.
It's a county
Okay,
ordinance.
I
county
thought we had
ordinance.
one as well that
Right.
part of- So if, in my opinion, does your support amending it? I would say yes, and then go to number 3. If yes, do you have any specific recommendation? This is in my mind. I mean, you can put so many limitations on them that they are only used for storage in the back 40 of their property. You could say for the town of Sevastopol, I'm just throwing things out there now, snowballing here. Say you have to have over 3 acres. You could have so many things where, it's just used, like the one on there, in the back of your property, not up by the road, needs no graffiti, no, labels on, it's gotta be painted the same color. It's just like anything else, they put up a structure, any shed you put up, it has to meet zoning, it has to meet all the rules and regulations. That's why I don't have a problem with it. The stacking, absolutely not. We can go through all these things. That's where I'm sitting at it.
I see a point to what you're saying, and to what Mr. Zettel said. Boy, but it's a little bit like a Pandora's box.
The size of a shipping container.
Roughly, yeah. Can it fit in a bread box?
Tongue in
No.
cheek.
Were you going to comment, Jeannie? Or
Well,
was that?
I understand what Mark's saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with the, depending on how it's used and positioned on the property, and if it's a bigger property, and it's screened. But some things seem to happen when we talk about, when the zoning talks about screening, and then, there's only like shrub that's this tall. And so, and then if it dies, well, too bad.
Right.
So those are the kinds of things that concern me. I have a thing about aesthetically pleasing and using plants and that sort of thing, but that's me. So I can't force somebody else to look at everything the way I do. But I think there should be some kind of standard. that's met. I just don't know what we want to talk about for standard or suggest for standard.
I would not want to see them used as storage buildings or residences
So what would,
anywhere,
so what would they be used for then? So not at all then?
not at all.
Not at all?
Yeah, we can't do the residence part.
No.
It has nothing to do with this.
Well, it says, which would allow shipping containers as accessory structures. Okay, let me go. There's accessory, there's secondary dwellings, and there's accessory structures. Are living quarters allowed in accessory structures?
No.
Yes,
In an
but
accessor-
not overnight, correct?
Correct, correct.
Well,
You- But you could also define an accessory dwelling unit of less than 750 square feet, and someone may say, okay, I'm going to use a, you know, can they use a shipping container to do that? I don't, that would be a question to ask the director to clarify. Because I know a lot of the accessory dwelling units today, you know, there's requirements for, you know, matching the pitch of the roof of your existing, you know, dwelling and siding and that sort of thing, so that may preclude, you know, shipping containers to be used in those instances. I think if you could say, yeah, you can't, you don't want it, you want to exclude accessory dwelling units, and then that way it's dealing with this notion of accessory structure, you know, your standalone garage, if you will. I think that's kind of, and, you know, narrowing that then potentially, Supervisor Waite, to, you know, how many, you know, where the, you know, restrictions saying like, you know, in residential, like SF10, SF20, to Supervisor Haynes' point, if it's in countryside, you know, which is much larger,
Egg, yeah.
you know, much larger acreage in our town, you know, as a, you know, akin to HL10, you know, like, for example, in Liberty Grove, et cetera. You know, then with proper screening, et cetera, then it may be amenable. I think just having, also be a member of the Plan Commission, you know, the town has a legacy of, you know, not liking storage facilities, right?
Yep.
We don't want to be like Nassawapi by the airport, right? And I think just shipping containers in and of themselves, you know, a whole collection of those, you know, like a bunch of storage units, you know, I can see where that's probably worse than someone putting up, you know, a storage unit structure. So I think it's, you know, relative to how many can you have, you know, if it's used like a storage building as a collection of units, you know, that I would agree with the same concerns of you probably wouldn't want that. I would assume you would want flexibility for commercial buildings, you know, contractors, for that, if they can
Right.
put up a, you know, if they can put up a slab and then have
Shipping
a
container.
shipping container to hold, you know, equipment and those sorts of things, where they can move those assets to building sites and those sorts of things. I think that, to me, as if I were, you know, contractor, I think that would be something I would like to have, that kind of flexibility. So I think that's where you need to look at it relative to, you know, commercial businesses, you know, contractors, and that sort of nature, where, you know, you do provide vegetative screening, like a landscape, you know, things like we did with Mr. Feldman, right on Forest Road. We had those sorts of restrictions. You can
Yep.
still do the same thing in those instances, but offer them that kind of economical flexibility to cite those. So I think there's that part too, from an economics, for, say, a business owner, where that, it's an economical decision that you wouldn't necessarily want to take that out of their hands.
But the memo from Karen Bailing, the Director of Land Use, it says as accessory structures. It doesn't say, you know, additional dwelling unit, or it says strictly as accessory structures, for example, storage shed,
Yep.
shelter. I'm guessing shelter as like a carport or something like that. music stage, outdoor bar, etc., question mark. So currently shipping containers are prohibited from being used as accessory structures. I'm okay with that, but.
And those examples she's giving are things that are already
What they're being
existing.
used for, right.
that,
I mean, she doesn't have residence in here. She
Yes.
doesn't have dwelling unit
and I
in
think
here.
that's why it's good to say, we want to reinforce that they won't be used for those purposes. I think that's the other thing, that even though it's not mentioned, you want to reinforce what you don't, you want to make sure they're not used for, or where they don't show up in residential areas, you know, like an SF10, SF20, SF30,
Right,
you know, large estate, you know, those sorts of things. You want to make sure that the town is clear on that.
which some of those counties did have zoning. Okay, so some of them had allowed an ag, larger lot residential, commercial, and/or industrial. Can we respond and say we have differences of opinion?
Why are you looking at me? I mean, if we need to, we can vote on it too. I mean, whatever.
Well, I think are there certain things we can agree on, like no stacking? I mean, or
Well, that's why-
can we agree to put them in certain zoning and
Well,
in
that's-
a commercial thing like Mr. Zell was talking about, or, but, you know, not as an actual, right next to your home storage?
Yeah,
I
that's
mean-
why I said, in my opinion, number one, we say yes. Number two, we don't have to answer. Number three, that's where we can just put our recommendations. That'd be my opinion, but you guys are all saying no. I don't know if Trent has said anything, yes or no, did you?
Well, I was no.
So-
No, they shouldn't be allowed, or,
I was just saying, I don't support amending the ordinance.
yeah, and I
Let's
would
leave it
say
as it
that
is.
too.
So then you
But
put
I
that
can-
on there.
I can
That's
see,
3 to
we're
1.
not the only town that's gonna disagree. That's why it's kind of unfair, really, to, I know we're supposed to be representing the best interests of the town
Yes.
overall, but we have differences of opinions.
Well, that's, I mean,
The
that's
workshop will be
democracy.
fun.
Yeah.
That's
Pardon?
democracy.
The workshop with the towns will be fun.
I mean, I would support, I mean, that's a part of democracy, right? I mean,
Right,
that's why we're not a board of
Right.
one.
Well, hammering out, so this is just some opinions we have, correct? So something is going to be hammered out.
Yeah,
well,
not
at a
tonight.
workshop,
Not
at a
tonight with us
workshop or a
tonight,
public
but
hearing,
at a
right.
workshop and public hearing, so. I mean, certainly we could say, you know, a number of us said, no, don't want them at all.
Yes.
So to
And-
the answer to question number one, does your town support amending the ordinance? I would say no.
No.
Trent would say no. You would
I'd say
say
probably no.
no. And we would have one that would say yes in certain zoning districts or certain
Well,
instances.
with number 3 then,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, you'd say, in certain zoning districts, I'd probably be okay.
And you may be able to allow it also, just to chime in so you can continue
please
with your
do.
agenda. You may say, okay, I may allow it in certain zoning districts under a conditional use permit, where then you can say, I'm gonna put in screening or other things so that it's not disruptive to the,
Yeah.
you know, character of the neighborhood and that sort of thing. So I think those are kind of things too, where you can provide some, you know, flexibility. You know, if someone wants to use it in a commercial use or industrial use, to me, that's perfectly viable in an area that's zoned for that.
Right.
And so, if you say, yeah, I'll allow it, but with a conditional use permit, oh, then you have the ability to weigh in as a town to say, okay, so-and-so wants to put these, you know, pods up, shipping containers in their industrial setting, and they provide how they're gonna do that, and then if you wanna put vegetative screening or other things on there, you know, you can have some flexibility with that, just based on where it's located within the town. So just some things like that you can give the land use department some
Yeah.
direction to say, hey, this may be, we can be flexible here, but that might be something that would be under a conditional use permit, as an example.
Yeah, I think that, the shipping container one is a little too broad, where the camping one has more question, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't say anywhere on here, will you please give us some
Yeah.
input? Because, well, I know why, because we could give them 17 pages of input, you know what I mean? We could put so
Well,
many,
I think we can add our input. So let's just look at question number 1. So 3 out of 4 say no. And maybe we'll make that no.
Yeah.
3 out of 4 supervisors say no. And if no, please briefly
Okay, yeah, I
explain
guess.
your concerns or reasons. And then we will put in there, like Mr. Zettel just said, we would perhaps have them subject to a conditional use permit. Could be dependent on the zoning district.
Yep.
Right, I don't think, you don't want them in a residential area,
Yeah.
bunch next to some 3-bedroom.
Just say
ranches, and
put,
you
you
got a
know,
bunch-
nothing in a
of-
residential.
well,
area.
that's what I, you know,
No stacking.
I was
Yeah.
talking about that
Was-
today, like, you know, so where Amy lives, you know, you have those houses right in a row, like a little resident, you obviously don't want those all stacked right there, you know, so
Yeah.
that's my point. Actually, I think when we do this, we need to write 4 out of 5, because Dan is clearly on the no.
Yeah,
Oh.
You know, even though he's
okay.
not here tonight, and
He made
his,
in
you
his
know,
notes.
It's his- Yeah, he made it pretty
So I
clear.
would think 4 out of 5
Yeah,
would
okay.
be the no.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, so Amy, are you okay? We're gonna say no with, and, under number
Not a
2,
hard
where
no.
it's, under number 2, where it says if no, please, and then we're gonna put in there 4 or 5 supervisors
Yep,
expressed, no.
yep. And the
However, we
concerns
did
were-
have discussion, subject to a conditional use permit, depending on a zoning, depending on a zoning district, questions on stacking and screening. Was there anything else?
Period of time.
Period of time.
I'll give you one example. In the town of Liberty Grove, they are planning, the Historical Society, there's planning to take all the material out of Gus Klinke's garage to rehab it. And if you put it in a storage container that's not zoned as an accessory structure, could you have it placed, you know, on a parcel somewhere and say, yes, I'll allow that on a conditional use permit for a period of time, for
Sure.
example? So those are
Yes.
some of those
Yes.
instances where a shipping container provides you that flexibility that, you know, it makes sense relative to the context of how they want to use it. You know, they eventually are going to get that old gas station rehabbed, and then they'll put a bunch of the stuff that Gus had in there back in that garage. But it's, right now, if they have a shipping container, right now, they're in violation because, you know, you're not supposed to have it, period. Well, you'd want them some flexibility to be able to store it somewhere at the Historical Society, maybe under a conditional use permit, et cetera, where it's for a period of time until that renovation is done. So I think those are some, you know, question relative to having that kind of flexibility.
Could we also add, like, defined use, like I said, Karen gave the examples of, define exact intended use.
Yeah, I don't think we have to get too detailed at this point, like,
Yeah.
you know.
So, and number 3 would be NA because we didn't say yes. Okay, so, again, can we just do this by consensus? I think we're all pretty clear on what
Yeah.
Yeah.
we want. Okay, all right. Okay, good. Okay, and Amy, you'll submit that for us?
I will.
Thank you very much. Ordinances and resolutions, I don't see any. Financial reports for January of 2026. There's a 2 left off the agenda, but that's okay.
Yeah,
So you've got the account balances, you've got the budget versus actual through January of 2026, and you have the list of transactions by date. So is there anything you wanted to add to that, Amy?
Yep, the town has paid its fourth quarter of fire protection. The snow removal has been a little above the budgeted amount, primarily because of the weekend snows. We've been getting a lot of those, so we will have a better assessment as of next month.
Okay. Thank you. So I guess I would need a motion to accept the January 2026 Treasurers Report and place on file.
I'll make motion to approve vouchers, bills, and claim, or no, we're doing, excuse me, the treasurer's report. Excuse me, sorry.
Just accept it now.
Financial reports of January 2026.
Second?
All right, motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, committee and other
No,
commission.
approval of vouchers,
financial
bills, I
report.
tried that already, we have to go back to that.
Approval of vouchers, bills, and claims.
I do have one question on that.
Okay,
Is this our last month with Charter?
Yes, it
Spectrum?
is. And actually, they owe us, I believe, either $120 credit or $20 credit. I can't differentiate,
Good.
but they owe us a credit.
So I see we have the AT&T bill, so. Done with Spectrum. Okay.
okay. So then approval of the voucher bills and claims, January 20th through February 16th, 2026.
Well, I tried it once, I'm gonna try it again.
Try it again.
All right, let's try it again. Approval of voucher bills and claims, January 20th, 2026 through February 16th, 2026. Please and thank you.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carried. And now we get to, I think, oral committee and commission reports. Door County Tourism Zone meets on Thursday, so I'll report whatever happens next meeting. Ms. Vogel, did you want to say something about
Yeah,
AT&T?
if the map can go up there. We just
Yep.
got an update from AT&T. There is a new map, and there you go. Things are moving along. Completion is on schedule for September of 2026. I think Dan may have mentioned this before about the little glitch on Bay Shore Drive because of SBU boring and burying lines. There's, depending on how far SBU gets this year, AT&T will be, burying that. But it looks like out of the 172 addresses on Bay Shore Drive, there'll be about 100, and they're estimating that about 123 will end up on, so it's funded because of the funding, because we all know we have a grant, a federal grant, and that can't be extended. So AT&T will provide fiber to locations using aerial cable rather than moving service underground for any locations where underground facilities are not yet in place or available. At this time, we estimate about 123 of the 172 addresses will continue to be served by aerial fiber indefinitely. This estimate may change depending on SBU's progress with its underground conduit work in 2026. And I think that the chairman mentioned this before, but, it's not going to make everyone happy, but frankly, when the AT&T did their bid, they thought that would all be aerial. So now, it's just the way things are. So I also want to mention that I have experienced, I don't know if Amy's gotten calls or not, I don't know, Amy, I don't think I asked you this, but I've had somebody tell me that on social media, there's been people that are saying, oh, don't sign up with AT&T because their service is terrible. This is what I want to get through to people is don't confuse cell service with internet. Because and they will admit it here, I will read it, that the cell service by AT&T is not necessarily reliable in all places. So, so if you have a salesman, so it says right here, we have reiterated with our sales team the need for honesty and transparency as it relates to the AT&T wireless cellular services in the area. As our sales teams are meeting with residents to discuss AT&T fiber for high-speed internet, they will offer information on other AT&T products and services such as our wireless service. We understand this may not be the best fit for everyone depending on where they live and/or travel. So please ask questions if you're getting these, if folks are trying to quote-unquote sell you on bundling, if you will, so doing a cell phone with AT&T as part of this, your internet package. So you make sure you ask questions, and make sure that if there's a way that they can show you that it will work, fine. But remember, again, this is what we, the reason we did this was to provide high-speed internet, fiber internet to every resident that wants it in our community, and that's our focus, okay? So, but please, if you have any issues, please let Amy know at the office or call me, and we will do our best to address that, the concern, okay? So that's it, that's all I have.
Is there a substantial difference that you do a bundle with internet and cell phone, or?
I haven't looked into it for myself, because we're not there yet.
They're two different
but-
charges.
But, yeah, they're different,
And-
but when you bundle them, I think you do get a better deal, or no?
I'm not, I don't know,
Normally
because I
it's-
have both,
Okay,
the internet, and I have 7 lines on the cell phone.
okay,
And
and it's working for you?
it's working just fine for me. I mean, you definitely have to take accountability for signing up to get it auto-drafted out of your account, which is, it will save you $10 per line. So 7 lines is $70. And then you have to watch, there is an additional charge for being able to upgrade at any time. And I think that is also a $10 fee. So again, 7 lines is $70. So if you really look at it and take care of those little fees, it actually is a very good deal, but you do have to, read between the lines and make sure that, you're getting the best deal for you.
Right. And, we want to make sure our people are happy, so, right?
Okay. Thank you, Jeannie.
You're welcome.
And our county board report, Mr. Zettel.
All right. I'll try to make
Oh,
this brief.
I'm sorry,
since-
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yes.
Did you want to report anything? Mark, did you want to report
Just though
anything?
we did the WTA county.
Oh, the unit
Just
meeting?
mention that, just unit meeting.
Yeah, we had our
That's-
unit meeting last Thursday. Yeah, we had a great turnout.
It wasn't tender beef.
Pardon?
It wasn't. Delicious meal.
Yeah, it was a good turn. It's a good networking meeting because,
I like to.
our
Yeah.
14 towns, we all get together quarterly. We change locations, so each town gets to be the host and
Yeah.
decide on the meal. And our next meeting's actually going to be on the island. We're going to the island for Friday afternoon, so.
Cool.
Not Waikiki, Washington.
The island.
The
yes,
island.
The
The one-
island,
Gilligan's up there.
so.
Yeah, I like those meetings because you learn, I mean,
Yeah.
to get some good information there. We got the guys that are going down to Madison, guys that are going out to Washington, DC. They're very informative, and I spread it all around our constituents and people I meet see afterwards, tell them some of
Right.
the things. It's,
Right. Yeah, and our new WTA directors, I
They're
think,
good.
do a good job
Yeah.
too. And we usually have, 1 or 2 or 3 legislatures or their representatives show up, and we can bounce questions off them. So our topic on Thursday night was, we had Chief Investigator there, John Gilson from the Door County Sheriff's Department, talking about fraud and sextortion and
Yeah, the trends, the
yeah,
trends that are happening.
drugs,
Big things,
cocaine.
trends
I
here.
was really surprised at cocaine use here in Little Door County, but
It's the
Anyway.
one of choice
Drugs
right
are
now.
everywhere.
yeah. Okay, sorry. Mr. Zettel, you can go ahead now.
Yes, and I'll try to be brief since I seem to be part of the interactive discussion this evening, which was very helpful
I think
for
we
us.
appreciate
take
it.
the
Yes, we
actions
do.
on in
Yeah.
the committees, so thank you. It was a very, I'll call it abbreviated meeting in January, kind of fairly light on topics. A couple things, we approved some snowmobile trail aid, we got for the 26-27 season from the state. The one thing I want to add on that last resolution, the Health and Human Services Department staffing changes, they have added additional HHS staff for handling dementia cases with our elderly population, and which is badly needed. Then the caseload has jumped significantly from 2024 to 2025, and we expect that more since we're one of the oldest counties per capita in the state. So that was greatly needed. We approved the ordinance for the changes on the zoning map for town of Gibraltar relative to how they're going to take an abandoned non-metallic mine, i.e. a quarry, and look at for a potential residential area around it. So that was the only ordinance action we took. I just want to highlight just a couple things. I was in Madison last week with the Wisconsin Counties Association. It was their legislative conference, and there what's interesting is they're one of the only association that has a roundtable discussion with both the House and the Senate majority and minority leaders. So they're trying to wrap up business, to end this biennial year. And they are grappling with, what to do with $2.1 billion surplus. When you do a biennial budget, they assume they might have had $600 million, while they actually have $2.1 billion. That's a little bit of a misnomer, because a lot of that surplus was transitory because it was one-time capital gains revenue for businesses that were sold or dispositioned. So it's not like, it's an ongoing economic impact because you've got businesses that were starting and are operating. So that surplus, there are a lot of one-time, revenue benefits there that may not be sustainable. But needless to say, the big topic is affordability, and with the large increases in property taxes that folks have seen across the state, not just in Sevastopol and the city of Sturgeon Bay, they're looking at providing a lot of that in terms of a rebate, and the big debate there is how they're going to structure providing those funds back to the taxpayers. So they're going to give a lot of that back. So that's where they're jockeying for position. The other areas that they're looking at trying to do some incremental funding is the Knowles Nelson, stewardship fund, trying to get that hammered out. And again, the big sticking point there is the funds
land.
that are available for doing these large land purchases, which is very problematic in the northern counties and municipalities of the state, which that you're taking a lot of
Off the
property
tax rolls.
dollars off the tax rolls, and that occurs in those small counties. So that's the one area. The other area they're looking at is to increase special education funding. That's an area of a gap they're trying to look at, and the other area is general school aid funding, K through 12. Just with referendum du jour that's occurring in a lot of the school districts. But at the same token, the big debate there was kind of interest to see the heads butt between the Senate minority leader and the House or the Assembly majority leader. Interesting tidbit, Wisconsin has more school districts than the state of California, and we have 10% of the population, of their population,
Wow.
right? And we're on a path, the state of Wisconsin, to have a net population reduction by 2030. So the whole challenge of reduced school census, which is they're primarily funding for schools, you know, there's going to be more of a drumbeat just listening to these folks talk about school consolidations. You know, in the city that we lived prior to moving back to Door County in Waukesha, this upcoming fall, they're going to have 4 less elementary schools. They closed 4 of them, and they're closing 1 of 3 middle schools. So it's something that all the municipalities, you know, and counties are dealing with. And so that's just something that they're looking at relative to how do they fund when you're, you know, funding general aid, and you're going to be doing it with buildings that are going to be more and more empty. And I think that's kind of like the rub, right? If it were a business or an industry, you would say, okay, I've got to consolidate some rooftops, right? And consolidate operations if you're, you know, if you just can't support, you know, that certain density. But that's obviously a challenge. It's a much tougher discussion, and, you know, with school districts, but it's something that we're gonna have to face into, because, you know, our population isn't trending up, it's trending down, especially for the youngins. So something to keep in mind. Otherwise, you know, the long term, they also talked about long term. I think the biggest sticking point they, you know, talked about is transportation funding long term. You know, with more electric vehicles, hybrids. They haven't raised the gas tax since 2006. So just some things there, right? You know, it's a double whammy, not only just EVs and electric vehicles, but the gas mileage has improved substantially since 20 years ago. So that's, you know, there's a challenge relative to how do you keep sustainable transportation funding to do all the roads, maintenance, and that sort of thing. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, and I thank you for the time, Supervisor Wade.
Thank you. That's very informative. A
Yeah.
little depressing, some of those points, but yes, we also talked about gas tax and electric vehicles, and, you know, how do we support our highways when there hasn't been an increase in the gas tax for 20 years? Okay.
Yeah, that comes up every single time there's any kind of gathering of the minds, because there's no one size fits all.
Yep.
You know, they tried several different things, and it's, how do you do it? But who was the gentleman that was there at the WTA district? He was also county board.
David Engelbert.
Yeah, that's who it was, because he
The
brought
chairman.
that up too. He said something about, or no, did he bring, one of them brought up that it could possibly be bankrupt. The transportation fund could be bankrupt in so many years if the way everybody's trying to pull from that fund.
Right, well, years ago, that was a very healthy fund, and they started pulling from it.
Right.
And I thought they had instituted a law or something that funds could not be transferred out except for transportation, but did that get bypassed somewhere along the line, or what?
No, it's just going down just because
Okay.
you know, the improved gas mileage, EVs and hybrids, right, they have the increased registration fee, but that, you know, it really doesn't capture utilization like, you know, gas tax used to, so.
Right.
Yes, it was rated back they talked about that.
Rated, that
It
was
was
the word I
rated
was
by
looking
the
for.
Doyle administration,
Right.
because they rated a transportation fund to pay for, schools.
Education,
some school
yes,
funding.
yep.
So that's where that happened,
That's right.
yeah. So,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. License and permits, you have them all in your packet there. Our Inspection Specialist LLC monthly permit report for January. That's a nice, healthy list. Remodels, lots of remodels. Some generators, those are getting more and more popular, right, Mark?
Every day.
Okay, service upgrades. And zoning permits, just one on Cherry Road. And correspondence, Evaluation of STR growth. Interesting, because I just looked at the packet for our Tourism Zone Committee meeting on Thursday. Another 16 new permits, I believe, for STRs. So that kind of correlates, goes along with, this was prepared by you, right? So just evaluation of the growth. And they outrank, their reservations outrank resorts and motels and hotels, and I think that kind of adds to the affordability crisis of homes that we're having here. Did you want to comment, Hugh?
The one part that's on the bottom of that chart, I don't think that was showed unless you scroll up. But I think relative to, you can see where our ordinance is working, you know, the growth is relatively flat compared to when you look at City of Sturgeon Bay is 300-some% increase.
Absolutely.
And the chart down below, it was just, you know, one of the reasons I created this was from a county view. For us to look at affordable housing, you really can only do it in an area that has municipal services, right? If you're in the town of Sevastopol, for example, before you even buy a lot, you're out 30, 40 grand for a pouts and another 30
Well.
grand maybe for a well,
Yeah.
right? And then you have to buy the lot on top of that. Well, you're not gonna put a tiny home on that, right? You know, and so you're talking about a lot of money. So if you're gonna put, you know, houses on smaller lots and get density, the best, you know, the only way you can do that cost effectively is really on a municipal system, you know, with sewer and water. It's just most cost effective. But when you look at, look at Sturgeon Bay, what has happened is, you know, they've done a lot of additions of housing permits, but they've lost, you know, 30, 40% or more to STR. So when you think you're getting 150, 160 increases in housing permits on a net basis, it's well under half of that, right? So you're not really improving your housing stock because you have all this other leakage,
Right.
you know, with short-term rentals and
And
you're not that's not including what's happening to your neighborhoods, you know, that are vacant, you know, 60% of the time a year, you know, that sort of thing. And a lot of those areas are where your houses really are affordable. You know,
Right.
the areas around the shipyard, those sorts of places are where you really have your good starter homes that a young couple, you know, could buy. So I think it's more or less to have that discussion to say, with the various STR ordinances, are they, you know, where are they working and trying to just, you know, temper, if you will, the growth? And I think with what Sevastopol's done, I think it could be where other towns might want to look at it if they really are serious about trying to keep housing available for residents. So, thank you for the opportunity,
Yeah.
Supervisor Wade.
Thank you. Yes, some good information there. And then we had our payment advice, so we've got our reimbursement for our municipal services provided to, I think this is to the parks, I'm not sure. Is that
Municipal
correct?
services,
Yeah, to the parks, provided
Nope.
to like
municipal services, yeah.
the state parks, yeah. And then you have our payment schedule, our loan with the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands through the state. 10-year loan, 5.5%
broadband.
interest for broadband, yep. And then we have a thank you to the town hall. Amy orchestrates this, our Door County Toys for Tots program. You'll always see the big box out front when it gets close to Christmas. So it was a thank you from Marcia Wiesner of the Toys for Kids Committee. We greatly appreciate your continued support with the toy box. So thank you to all who donated a toy. Yes, the Sevastopol Historical Society. We're going gangbusters this year. We're having a program like almost every month. So our next one, this will be a fun one. So it's with Joe Taylor from Door County Historical Museum downtown. He's the director. He's going to be out here, and it's a lunch and learn. I'm making a soup, or I'm going to attempt to make a soup, and a couple others. So you come and have lunch with us and listen to this program. He's going to talk about rocks and fossils. And people are encouraged to bring your special rock or a stone or a fossil that you found out in the field. I have one. It's a very unusual rock. And he will do his best to identify that and say, okay, it's only 400 million years old or something like that. And that is Sunday, March 22nd, starting at 1 p.m.
Nope.
Great.
Not the March, February.
No,
I'm sorry,
February.
That's right in front of
February
you.
22nd, I'm
Yeah.
moving my head.
Hey, Linda, there's a book out there called Rock Soup. Maybe you should read it and try to make your soup like that.
Oh,
before you-
yes, yes.
Yeah,
I do remember that book
Rock
from
soup.
grade school. Mm-hmm. Or stone soup?
stone soup.
I think it's stone
Yeah,
soup.
stone soup.
Right,
Maybe
all
you
the
should-
animals contribute something
Yep,
to the
maybe you
soup.
should perfect
Oh,
that.
I bet they do.
Okay.
few days to
Mine, I hope mine will taste a little bit better than that.
Well, they
but
all
who
loved
knows?
it.
Yeah. So again, Sunday, February 22nd, 1 p.m., lunch and learn about rocks. I think that's all I have.
Announcements.
Okay, for correspondence. Okay?
Yep.
Announcements, again, we just talked about the Rocks program on Sunday, February 22nd. Spring election, yes, it's right around the corner, Tuesday, April 7th. Our polls are open here from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. If you have any questions, contact our clerk. Next so again, we are foregoing a meeting in March unless something urgent comes up. So our next Board of Supervisors meeting would be Monday, April 20th at 7 p.m. And then I mentioned the annual town meeting, which is Tuesday, April 21st at 6 p.m. Anything else for announcements? Okay.
Then I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Agenda items for next month should be
Who said anything else?
Second.
We'll have a meeting next month.
on announcements. Okay, agenda items to be determined. Okay? All right, Trent, take it away.
Continued motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.